You want to bring down the syndicate? It's impossible.
This has got to be a world record for logo endurance, right? 65 seconds?
No, seriously. What else can I even say about these logo sins? You all know why it's annoying, right?
In case you confused it with Minsk, Minnesota.
Well, how many people know where Minsk is, except the people who live there? I didn't know.
This isn't going very well.
I am aware of that, Brandt. You're not helping.
Jeremy Renner plays yet another character in yet another crime-fighting team and is yet again informed of his worthlessness.
Except Brandt isn't worthless in this movie, as he helps Ethan complete the missions. And I personally never understood Hawkeye being worthless in the MCU. Like, this movie came out the same year as Age of Ultron, the movie where he incapacitated the Scarlet freaking Witch, helped the Avengers recover at his house, and bring the Cradle to Avengers Tower, which resulted in Vision's creation. Wait, what movie am I talking about again?
The package is still on that plane.
Unnecessary reminders.
This is meant to tell Benji and Ethan to hurry up and get the package off the dang plane.
Perfect grassy runway for Ethan to run and jump over to the departing plane is perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. What's the problem?
If you think I'm not going to remove 5 sins for this badassery, you are dead wrong.
I don't like removing that many sins. One is already enough. But yes, you do deserve a send-off for praising this sequence. Still crazy that Tom Cruise did this stunt for real.
Movie forgets to show us the scene where Ethan dies and goes straight to the opening credits.
Why would this have killed him? They're high enough from the ground and Ethan let out the parachute. What's deadly about this?
More spoiler credits.
More complaining about credits that don't even spoil any plot points.
You looking for anything in particular?
Something rare.
This old school specific conversation in a public place spy is still being employed and still works. Encrypted email. Ethan, go to the record store.
Why wouldn't this work?
Also, how is it arranged that someone like Ethan is told to go to a record store to find the latest spy message? This seems tremendously unsecure.
Solomon Lane probably sent a message to Ethan to go here, and he was able to fool him into thinking it was coming from the IMF. How exactly it happened doesn't really matter, and would have only padded the runtime.
It really is you.
What? After playing the spy game perfectly, this record store chick just can't resist making sure it really is Ethan Hunt she's talking to? For real?
Well, yeah. The lady says herself that the store is closing, and it's practically empty. And come on, this man has done a ton of insane things in the past 4 movies. Frankly, I would have asked more questions.
The same shadow organization you have been tracking for the last year.
You mean Spectre?
Oh, great. We're back to referencing James Bond? Is it really a sin that we have 2 spy movie franchises?
Ethan pounds on the glass many times, but I don't think he even once tried the door's handle. Might be unlocked. You never know.
Jeremy, did you seriously think Lane didn't lock the door? Ethan was looking at the message almost the whole time and wouldn't be looking out, giving Lane the perfect opportunity to trap him. Are you seriously telling me you couldn't figure that out?
Insufficient Ethan Hunt present. Also, I'm going to make an invention known as the perpendicular pipe, so that heroes can't wriggle their way off of pipes to which they've been tied. I'll make billions in fake movie dollars.
How many times do I have to tell you that the characters within these movies underestimate Ethan Hunt?
This girl needs to unbutton her blouse before questioning a spy. I'm not complaining, just sending it.
Sending something you like.
And then all the other bad guys stand around like this is no big deal. Also, why did they leave his legs unbound? He's a freaking super spy.
You're literally showing one of the goons running over to Vinter, so they're not just standing around.
Tom Cruise only needed to channel his far and away days to complete this shirtless raw boxing scene.
Arbitrary movie reference.
These assholes outside have been listening this entire time, yet only now decide to see if maybe those noises inside are bad.
They probably assumed Vinter and Ilsa had it under control, but after it went on for a little too long, they started getting worried.
I tried to stop you. You got away.
Who are you?
Yeah, Ethan, we totally have time for this.
He doesn't know if he'll see her again, and she's a person that has never met him before who saved him. I'd want to know who she is too.
Make it count. Brent.
Mysterious dial tone after person on the other line hangs up cliche. Also, loud-ass dial tone is loud as
That was 2 sins for the same thing. Double dipping.
This entire scene, before you even get to the reveal, is basically telling you Ethan and the CIA guys are not even in the same zip code, even though it's trying desperately not to do that. It's an audience mind so routine that it's time to start scouring the Kama Sutra to spice up this marriage.
So you're sinning the movie for tricking the audience into thinking that the CIA has finally found Ethan, only to reveal that it's the wrong location? Why exactly is that something wrong with this movie?
I'm shocked some text didn't flash on the bottom of the screen that told us Paris, Bolivia. I mean France. Gosh, I get those confused sometimes.
Okay, but you usually send the movie for giving you the location through text, and now you're sinning the movie for not doing that? Shouldn't you have just kept the sin counter the same and move on? Or better yet, don't bring it up at all?
Benji has to hide his Halo 5 gameplay, not because he's in the CIA now, but because Halo 5 won't be released until 3 months after this movie, which means he's playing a bootlegged as hell copy.
This implies that either Halo 5 came out earlier in universe, or the movie takes place 3 months later. Actually, there was a 6-month time jump that you didn't mention, so maybe by the time those 6 months have passed, Halo 5 came out.
Guy who gets questioned by Alec Baldwin every week about Ethan Hunt's whereabouts is somehow able to just up and leave his desk and fly to f***ing Vienna without telling anyone.
But Hundley later shows that he knows about these opera tickets, so Benji probably did tell them.
Oh, I didn't win those opera tickets, did I?
It's amazing how close this movie and Spectre are in terms of plot. Of course, this movie came out first, but that's not going to prevent us from sitting both movies for the same thing.
Jeremy goes on a bit longer comparing this movie to Spectre, but I want to stop there, because he literally admits this movie came first. So this should be a sin for Spectre, not Rogue Nation.
Oh, I didn't win those opera tickets, did I?
No, I'm afraid not.
Wait, did he actually think he'd won those things at random? Seriously?
Yes.
Nobody who works security for a living has apparently ever seen a movie before. Distorted screens means you've been hacked, sticks. The Chancellor of Austria is here. His life is in your hands, dude.
The only reason you're saying this is because you know this is a Mission Impossible movie and that this kind of thing happens, but the characters in-universe would just assume the cameras are cutting out for a bit and are fixable.
This woman's dress is scandalous. I mean, scanning the foyer for movie sins, negative.
Sending something you like.
And movie cuts straight from her walking up the main stairs to being backstage, with no clue as to how she got backstage.
She's a spy working for MI6. That's good enough for me.
For some reason, super spy Ethan Hunt doesn't have a silenced pistol on his person at all times, for occasions such as this.
Where would he have gotten one? And sure, I guess he would have stolen one somewhere, because he's Ethan Hunt, but I could see that maybe the Chancellor's assassination was something he found out about at the last minute, so maybe he didn't have enough time to get one.
The stage director sees this and yet does not try to move the switch back into place, probably because she knows it helps the tension of the action.
She most assuredly would have moved it, but she didn't because the other assassin immediately comes into the lighting booth and either incapacitates or kills her.
This opera scene is amazing, and we're removing 5 sins for it, but I'd remove 5 sins for this shot alone.
Agreed.
I don't know what else is waiting for. She had a perfect shot for 15 minutes now. Even when we find out later she was just going to shoot the guy's shoulder, she could have done it by now.
You don't know what she's waiting for? Oh, that sucks. If only there was a scene that explains this. Like, maybe she's waiting for a specific note in the song that's the loudest and therefore wouldn't be heard by the audience. Oh well, too bad that scene doesn't exist.
Luck stumble.
How is this luck? Benji knew this switch would turn on the lights, and he came in here to take out the assassin. Is paying attention to a movie too difficult for you?
No one notices this.
How do you know that? I think it's extremely likely someone noticed this, but the movie didn't show it because it's not important.
So this world leader dude was gonna die no matter what. 3 assassins at the opera, a bomb in the car. If he'd somehow made it home, there would have been a gas leak, an electrical fire, and an armed break-in. Also, if the Syndicate could kill the Chancellor like this, then why did they even bother hiring 3 assassins to do the job in the opera house?
The movie later says that this was Lane's backup plan, just in case the assassins failed.
Also, while the preceding opera scene was amazeballs, it's now rendered almost 100% moot. Awesome.
It's not, though. This sequence was meant to test Ilsa's loyalty to the Syndicate, and it brings Ethan and Benji together for the rest of the movie.
The car bomb was insurance.
Sure it was. I still don't know why you don't just explode the guy in the first place. In fact, it seems like you have so many connections you could have just poisoned his coffee this morning.
I just spent the last 2 sins explaining this, though I guess here's a third explanation. Assassinating him in the middle of an opera where only a few people notice him is a much better idea than just blowing up his car.
You know what would have been awesome? Sneaking George Clooney or some A-lister's face into the slideshow of MIF agents. Instead, just some models. Shame.
Don't you mean the IMF, not MIF?
He slipped away again in Jakarta.
Ethan is telling Benji the 3 or 4 times he failed to catch the Syndicate guy, and I'm wondering, is this really Ethan Hunt? The Ethan Hunt we know is so good that failing even once is hard to believe.
Funny. coming from the guy who has been underestimating Ethan for 5 movies now. And to be fair, he was all alone with all of these situations. In most of these movies, he always has the team with him to help him accomplish missions.
Bad guy acts like he's going to kill one person, but ends up killing a completely different person as a surprise cliche. Either that, or his aim is really that bad.
I would have let this sin slide, but then you had to suggest maybe Lane accidentally shot the wrong person. Again, if you actually paid attention to the movie, you would have noticed that he thinks Ilsa can still help, since he asks her if Ethan said anything to her.
A note with lipstick kisses on it somehow goes unnoticed until the 2 white foreigners stroll through town.
Are you suggesting someone would have taken this note down? Why?
Also, in Moroccan, this note means blowjob.
Unfunny joke is unfunny.
MI5 definitely has time for the overused hot spy girl we're not sure we can trust gets out of the pool cliche.
Has any other spy movie done this other than James Bond? Or was this your way of referencing those movies again?
I know Ethan. I don't know you. All I know about you is that you chose to work for Hunley.
Actually, no. At the end of Ghost Protocol, you were at the table when this guy walked up. You know for a fact that Ethan trusts him, so go f*** a log, asshat.
You just played him saying that Brandt chose to work for Hunley. Yes, Luther saw him at the end of the last movie, but we haven't been given any proper scene between them to build trust.
These cameras actually know how the agent walks.
So you can't access this place if you suddenly have a limp? Good system.
Yeah, sure. That probably means he wouldn't be able to come into work and he'd have to wait to heal.
All he has to do is install the fake profile before I get to the gate analysis.
Once again, for some reason, these tasks need to be done at virtually the same time for some reason. I don't know why Ethan can't try the profile thing first, then Benji goes to the terminal after everything is installed, but what do I know?
Obviously, this is done to make the scene more exciting, but I don't see why they shouldn't do this. Considering this mission ultimately succeeds, I don't think this question is relevant.
Also, are these the most accurate eyewitness sketches in the history of ever?
Did you forget about Ghost Protocol, which you already brought up in this video? Ethan drew Hendricks' face on his hand, so it's already been established he can memorize faces and draw them with accuracy.
Point Break remake outdone by unrelated 5th film in a franchise.
So, this movie does something better than the Point Break remake, and that's worth a sin?
That's great, but what if you missed?
Why is that a sin of this movie? He didn't miss, so this question is irrelevant. You're basically just asking a question because you're curious.
iPad hacking. Also, you gotta love the Internet of Things, where an iPad is literally all you need to break into a place.
That's not an iPad. It's a Microsoft Surface, and it's also spy tech, which is clearly more advanced than regular tech.
One more time. You'll have 3 minutes.
Going over the plan one more time, mere seconds before executing said plan, is pointless, unless you're trying to cram some much-needed exposition into the film before a huge action sequence.
He's still a human being, though, and needs to remember all the little details about this plan. That's something I would have appreciated.
I mean, seriously, why can't Benji wait in the lobby while all this other goes down? This simultaneous bullshit is insane.
Double dipping.
The entire plan hinges on the hope that no one looks up.
Why would they? They're clearly busy and have no reason to look up at a random platform.
And I've already drowned twice just watching this scene.
So you're saying you're not able to hold your breath for a long time. Don't get me wrong, I can't either, but you know who can? Tom Cruise. He trained for this and was able to hold his breath for up to 6 minutes. This is not a sin in the movie since it really happened.
One of the most tense action sequences of 2015.
I find it weird that you didn't sin this movie for creating tension like you did with Ethan losing his glove in the last movie, but whatever. I still agree with you. Take off another sin.
Do computers work this way? This system analyzed Benji's gait for 75% of his walk down the hall, but had no profile to verify it until just now. The computer thinks nothing is wrong with that and doesn't raise any red flags.
Well, yeah, it was loading until a chip was placed. The guards could just see this as a little glitch, or maybe it's moving slower than usual.
One of these days, you're gonna take it too far.
One of these days?
Jeremy yells at the screen.
I said I could locate him. You have to find him.
Right.
I'll take statements that make no sense for 800, Alex.
Care to elaborate?
This guy decided to dress as an X-Man for this assault, and some kind of henchman boss approved that decision.
Arbitrary movie reference.
Apparently there was no better way to incapacitate the other bikes or riders besides this donut spin of luck, executed after all the bad guys were already on their bikes and
What other way was there? The only one I can think of is fighting them all one by one, but that would have taken longer than just doing this. And this looks easier anyway.
How the f do you know?
Because he saw her face under the helmet?
These assholes recover from being wiped out by a spy chick in record f***ing time to be this close to the main chase.
How long do you think it should have taken for them to get up and turn on their bikes? And they haven't gotten that far at this point.
With no idea who this is, and only knowing he's disrupting the chase, half the bikes turn to follow Ethan. It's almost like you can't have a high-pulse action film these days without having the bad guys make seriously dumb decisions.
Because they could clearly see that Ethan and Benji are also chasing after Ilsa, and so want to make sure they don't get the disc. At least it's not all the bikes.
Ethan is addicted to baskets.
Well, he did just wake up from being dead.
Really great Mission Impossible movie somehow feels the need for a visual callback to the worst Mission Impossible movie in the franchise.
Mission Impossible 2 wasn't great, I agree with that. But the motorcycle chase was the best sequence in that entire movie.
Also, Tom Cruise riding a motorcycle cliche.
Sending Tom Cruise riding a motorcycle cliche.
My question is, who placed Ethan at this table and propped him up to make him seem alive? My guess is it's those crazy kids from Weekend at Bernie's.
Arbitrary movie reference.
That's a red box.
What? It's a red box.
I find it hard to believe that any of these savvy 2015 spies are unaware of the prevalence of Redbox.
And a red box joke. Like, that was way too easy, dude.
I think of all the people in this station, my favorite are the blonde girl and her boyfriend, who are rushing to catch a train to run away to
Skip!
Because we're in the spy world, I guess we're just gonna accept that a cell phone has the capability of wirelessly reading a disconnected flash drive and deleting its contents.
Have I mentioned this is the same world that has face masks that are completely unrealistic? This franchise already has ridiculous technology.
Benji.
How did all these trained super spies not see Benji get kidnapped?
Because A, they were paying attention to Ilsa, B, the Syndicate would make sure to be quiet about it, and C, they're in the middle of a railway station with a ton of people walking around. I find it believable they didn't notice.
This is not possible, movies. Stop telling me it is.
Except it is possible. If you slow down the footage, you can clearly see Rebecca Ferguson walking away right here, meaning this was done in camera.
We have to take the Prime Minister.
Fifth Mission Impossible movie steals from the second National Treasure movie.
Dang, how many arbitrary movie references are you gonna make?
It looks like Lane came straight from the set of Sprockets.
Okay, not technically a movie this time, but you get the idea.
Unsurprising mask reveal in a Mission Impossible movie is unsurprising.
Doesn't make it any less cool.
I am the disc. I memorized it. All 2.4 billion in numbered accounts.
No, you didn't.
To be fair, we never actually see Ethan say this stuff out loud, and he even mentions that it's possible he might be bluffing, but Lane doesn't know if this is true or not, and so turns off the bomb just in case.
This movie is about to show me everything I've been watching for the last 20 minutes as part of an elaborate Ethan Hunt ruse to catch the bad guy in a literal glass box. Fine. Okay. But how the f*** did Ethan's plan account for this frantic foot chase and the whereabouts of the bad guys during it?
Do you think that Ethan didn't anticipate goons that he'd have to fight? It's also strange how sometimes you suggest he's a super spy and should be perfect, but other times you forget about that.
Instead of getting the f*** out of here, as she should, this girl somehow decides she needs to kill this henchman first, probably for added movie tension.
Or probably so this guy doesn't keep coming after them.
Given what we're about to see in terms of planning ahead, it's some bullshit to the nth degree that Ethan's plan involved stopping here to get shot at, only to jump through the glass the bullet that should have killed him shattered.
Really? You think this was part of Ethan's plan? I'm positive he would have jumped through the glass even if Lane didn't shoot him. And how does shooting him affect Lane falling into the glass box? Like, what?
Didn't Lane want to keep Ethan alive because of that bullshit with memorizing the bank accounts? Why does he want to kill him now?
He doesn't. He's trying to incapacitate him so he can stop him from running. Notice how when he sees Ethan lying on the ground in this hole, he doesn't shoot him?
This entire plan is based on the wishes of Stardust fairies on the eyelashes of leprechauns that Lane will be a horrible shot and won't simply kill Ethan when he sees him in plain view through this hole in the floor.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe how dumb this guy is sometimes. Ethan knows that Lane doesn't want to kill him, just knock him out. He wouldn't shoot him here because Ethan supposedly has the information that he wants.
This is the most deservingest of being caughtest bad guy ever. Why would you jump down that hole?
Why wouldn't he? For definitely not the last time, the characters in this franchise underestimate Ethan.
Ethan, we gotta go.
Well, there's still time for hugging, so.
Oh, trust me. I'd hug her right then and there, knowing she doesn't last long in this series and dies a super lame death.